Hello, everyone. Just wanted to check in with you and do another video and talk a little bit about chirology. Um, Chirology is a fascinating type of, I don't know if we want to call it a modality or what we'd like to call it, but it's about looking at the hands. And the hands are reflecting how your brain is processing information in a lot of different ways. So the hands have 15 times more nerve endings on the cerebral cortex versus other aspects of your body. So the hands are similar to like the user's manual for your brain. So what we do when we look at your hands, we look at two basic aspects of them. There's hardwired features, which would be your skin type, lengths of your fingers, and your fingerprints. And you can have fingerprints on the palms of your hand as well as just your fingertips. And these are things that do not change. So this is truly reflecting how your brain is flavoring your thoughts. And each feature on the hand has two perceived aspects, a challenging aspect as well as a positive aspect. And each finger has its own unique type of energy as well. So there are endless possibilities of the 6 different types of fingerprints that you can have on different fingertips, as well as different sections in your hand. And so what that really reflects is, first of all, we're not in control of our thoughts. So thoughts are basically generated to us by our unconscious interpretation of what we're perceiving. So your unconscious is like a recording or a history of everything that you've experienced in your life and what that felt like. So your unconscious is perceiving where you're at. And when the unconscious determines where you're at based on where you've been or what your brain knows to be its truth, it will give you the result in the form of conscious recognition, or what you would call a thought. So this fascinating little bit of information is a huge reflection that we are not in control of our thoughts. So our thoughts are basically just a indication of what our unconscious programs are, or what our brain believes to be its truth. And the other aspect we look at on your hands are the lines on your hands, the palm of your hand. And a lot of people associate this with palm reading, with any type of hand reading, are the lines. The lines are neural pathways based on what you've experienced and what it felt like. So when we look, there are 4 major lines that you can have. There's a vitality line, which circles around your thumb, which is about feeling grounded, rooted, and safe. There's a life path line, which starts toward the bottom middle section of your hand and runs up towards the middle finger. And this is not about when you're going to live or die. This is about your concepts of values, ethics, and beliefs. And then the 2 horizontal lines are your consciousness line, which starts above your thumb and runs horizontally towards the pinky side of your hand. And then your emotion line starts underneath your pinky and runs horizontally towards the other part of your hand. Now, the emotion line has a lot of variability on where it ends, and it can have multiple endings, which are just deeper reflections of how we process things emotionally. Now, your dominant hand is how your brain reflects things from a social situation and more of like your adult or career. Where your passive hand is very indicative of your childhood and your upbringing and your relationship to your family and then people that become closer to you. So just the left to right hand, or your dominant to passive hand, is hugely reflective of all relationships. So when we first meet a partner or a person, our brain's going to view them through our social constructs, our adult situation, which usually is a little bit more safe and not as much trauma is associated with it. And the closer that we get to a person, and once we let a person into our inner space, our inner heart space, our brain now views that same person and generates different thoughts based on our childhood experiences. And most of our unconscious programs and experiences of trauma happened within the first 5 years of our life, which we do not consciously recognize or understand. So it's really unique in relationships. The closer you get, the more challenging it's going to become. The same person doing the same thing one day, sometimes to the next, can generate a different thought and a different emotion, which is usually going to be more of the fearful-based emotions versus the loving-based emotions. So a chirology reading is really interesting because it takes around an hour to 90 minutes to go through all aspects of your hands, from those hardwired features to those crazy cool lines. And we also have a ton of minor lines on the hands, which are any type of line that's not one of the 4 major lines. So it's really unique to look at the passive hand from the childhood perspective, which reflects what the unconscious programs are, versus the dominant hand, which is how are you playing this out in your adult life, and usually it's based on a career. So what chirology can do for someone is it can really help identify unconscious programs. It can identify traumas that may not be consciously known. It can also be a great predictor of what type of career would be best suited for you. So it's fully, and also in relationships. You can do a couples reading, which is if you have a partner, and to read both of your hands at the same time, or at least in the same space, you get to really fully understand more about your partner and how their thoughts are processed, which would also influence how they react and what they do in their existence in that relationship as well. So if you have any interest in chirology or would like to receive a reading, please reach out to me. I can be reached at fredsalzman@yahoo.com. That's FredSalzman @yahoo.com. Or you can reply a comment to the video or check out any of the links on my websites of fredsalzman.com or my new website, which is going to be up and running hopefully soon, which is spiritual-masturbation.com. And the spiritual masturbation title is highly reflective of quantum physics, where we are really, in a quantum sense, we are really just kind of playing with ourselves through the quantum creation. So it's just a unique kind of, I would say, a unique kind of way of looking at it, just to take light with things. But it really is fascinating. So there's going to be a lot of different videos up, which are just going to be more informational, as well as helping you all understand quantum physics and how different things are processing in your life. So I thank you very much for your time, and looking forward to meeting you or seeing those amazing hands of yours. Alrighty, take care.